We've been testing 5 different automatic fish feeders and 3 different feeding rings over the past month, and we're ready to share our results with you. We've got so much to cover today. We're gonna go in depth on all 5 feeders and the 3 feeding rings. And after all of that, we're gonna choose a winner based on 8 different categories. I think that if you stick around to the very end, you'll know exactly which feeder and feeding ring to buy that will fit your needs best. Please consider subscribing to My First Fish Tank and Marine Depot, and links to all the feeders and feeding rings in the description below. First up, we have the Eheim Feed Air with feeding station. It retails for $33 or $48 with the feeding station included. It takes 2 AA batteries, which are included. There are 3 different mounting options for the Eheim Feed Air. The first is to use the felt feet for sitting on some sort of flat surface, such as the feeding station or on a lid. The second is using the feeder clamp. It has a max 3/4 inch opening, so it fits on any glass up to 3/4 inch. And you just have to screw it to the bottom of the unit. And the third mounting option is just put it on top of the feeding station, and the feeding station has a maximum opening of 7/8 inches. This Eheim Feed Air is reviewed a lot online. Marine Depot gives it an average of 4 out of 5 stars with 80 reviews, and Amazon gives it a 4.4 out of 5 stars with more than 5,000 reviews. It has a 100 milliliter capacity. To fill the Eheim Air automatic feeder, just pull off the feeding drum, pinch down on the rear plastic panel to remove. This feeder is perfect for either pellets or flakes and has an adjustable opening. This Eheim automatic feeder can run up to 4 programmed cycles a day with 1 to 2 rotations at a time for a maximum of 8 daily feedings. The most unique feature of this Eheim Air feed is that it has a ventilation fan system that turns on whenever feeding happens to help keep the food dry during the drum rotations. The best characteristic of this feeder is it feels heavy duty and it runs almost silently. And the worst characteristic is that none of the mounting options are actually integrated into the unit, but it's also kind of a positive because that means you can mount it anywhere. Second up, we have the Eheim Twin automatic feeder with the feeding station. Coming in at $70 for just the feeder and $81 with the feeding station, this is the highest priced option we're going to review today. The Eheim Twin runs on 4 AA batteries, which are included. Just like the previous Eheim version, there are 3 mounting options. The first is to install the rubber feet for sitting on flat surfaces like the feeding station. The second is Velcro. It comes with 2 small pieces of Velcro for securing it to a flat surface. And the third is just to use the feeding station. The Eheim Twin automatic feeder doesn't have as many online reviews, but Marine Depot gave it 3 out of 5 stars with 8 reviews, and Amazon gave it a 3.9 out of 5 stars with 227 reviews. As for capacity, the Eheim Twin has 2 separate feeding compartments, both of which are 80 milliliters for 160 milliliters total. Filling the Eheim Twin automatic feeder is super easy. Just open each side from the top and pour in either your flakes or your pellets. For types of food, it's a little tricky with the Eheim Twin. I used small pellets, large pellets, and flakes. Some of the flakes seemed to work okay, but some of the flakes wouldn't get caught up in the mechanism, so virtually no food was dispensed. And when it came to pellets, really small, dry pellets got caught in the mechanism, causing it to not work at all, but larger, softer pellets seemed to work. Really, I think the Eheim Twin is ideally suited for larger, softer pellets. Each side of the Eheim Twin automatic feeder can be programmed for up to 3 cycles today with 9 rotations per cycle. To make programming simple, you just need to understand the LCD display. The numbers on top, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, those are the cycles. The 1, 2, 3 on the left being for the left feeding chamber, and the 1, 2, 3 on the right being for the right feeding chamber. And then the number below those numbers are how many rotations per that feeding cycle. The most obvious unique feature of the Eheim Twin is you can feed 2 separate foods. It's also the only unit to have a random feeding cycle, but the directions aren't very good, so I'm not exactly sure how random that is and how many rotations that means per day. Also, this is the only unit that doesn't use a feeding drum, but uses these feeding screws to push the food out. The best characteristic of the Eheim Twin automatic feeder is that it has 2 separate feeding compartments, so you can feed 2 separate foods. And the worst characteristic is it really doesn't seem to work that well for flakes or small dry pellets, so it's really just meant for larger, more moist pellets. This is not my favorite feeder, and I probably wouldn't recommend it, especially given the price. Next up on our journey is the Current USA Aqua Chef. Retail price of $23. It's one of the more affordable options we have. The 2 AA batteries are included. Only comes with 1 mounting option. The attached plastic support bracket fits glass up to 1 inch thick. Online reviews at Marine Depot gets a 3 out of 5 stars with 22 reviews. And the biggest complaint seems to be that only the manual feed button works. So if you program it, it doesn't seem to always dispense food at the time it's supposed to, which is kind of a big deal. Chewy gives this a 3.2 out of 5 stars, so this unit does not have the highest reviews. Capacity of the Current USA Aqua Chef is only 35 milliliters, which is the smallest of the units we're looking at today. To fill the Aqua Chef, just pull off the drum and gently bend back the center covering. This feeder works well for both pellet and flake foods. The Current Aqua Chef can be programmed for up to 4 cycles per day with 1 or 2 drum rotations per cycle for a maximum of 8 drum rotations per day. Unique features of the Current USA Aqua Chef: it has a smaller, more compact barrel, which may work better for some of your aquarium setups. And the second unique feature is that the feeding door closes all the way, which should help keep moisture out of the drum. My favorite feature for the Aqua Chef is the adjustable slider. It just seems like it gives a more consistent amount of food per each rotation. And the worst aspect of the Current USA Aqua Chef is just the reviews. It's probably the worst reviewed one we're looking at, and it's because a lot of people had reliability issues where this unit would not dispense food at the pre-programmed times. Fourth up on our list today is the Lifeguard Aquatics IntelliFeed. Retail price right now is $50. This unit comes with built-in rechargeable lithium-ion batteries. You have 2 mounting options for this unit. It comes pre-installed with a plastic support bracket, which can go onto glass up to 7/8 inch thick. You can also remove the rotatable base and apply the double-sided tape to stick it to a flat surface. There aren't a lot of reviews for this unit. At the time of filming at Marine Depot, there were 0 reviews, and Amazon gave it a 3.6 out of 5 stars with 94 reviews. This unit has a huge capacity of 200 milliliters. There are 2 ways to fill up this unit. You can use the top load hopper, or you can remove the drum. The Lifeguard Aquatics IntelliFeed works well with both pellets and flakes. The Lifeguard Aquatics IntelliFeed can be set up with 4 programmable cycles a day with either 1, 2, or 3 rotations for a maximum of 12 rotations per day. There's a couple unique features with this unit. First of all, if you buy the new and improved version, which this is not, this barrel is actually shorter, but it pulls into the housing, keeping the food completely dry in between use. The other unique feature is that it has a top load feature, so you can just easily open it, load the food from the top, but if that's not your thing, you can still just pull it off and load it the old-fashioned way. There are a lot of best things about this Lifeguard Aquatics automatic feeder. Has a rechargeable battery, which is awesome. The drum capacity is huge at 200 milliliters. And I found it to be one of the easiest ones to program. The worst feature is the price. This is currently retailing for $50 when you can purchase pretty much the exact same feeder from Amazon for $25. Our 5th and final automatic feeder is the Zacro automatic fish feeder, available at Amazon. Retail price of $25. Rechargeable lithium-ion batteries are included and pre-installed. Just like the unit from Lifeguard Aquatics, there are 2 mounting options. It comes pre-installed with a rotatable plastic support bracket for glass up to 1 inch thick, or you can pull off that support bracket and mount the double-sided tape to put it on a flat surface. This is the highest reviewed unit we're looking at today. On Amazon, it gets 4.4 out of 5 stars with over 1,300 ratings. The Zacro has a huge capacity of 200 milliliters. You fill this the exact same way as the Lifeguard unit. It either has a top load hopper or you can remove the drum and fill it that way. This unit works great for pellets and flakes. The Zacro automatic fish feeder can be set up to 4 separate times per day with either 1, 2, or 3 rotations per cycle for a maximum of 12 rotations per day. Unique feature of this, even though the buttons are in slightly different places and the face of the unit looks a little bit different, functionally speaking, it's the exact same as the Lifeguard and Telefeed, but it's half the price. The best feature of the Zacro automatic fish feeder is the price and the reviews. It is one of the least expensive units, and it is the highest rated unit we're looking at today. The Zacro also has a really large barrel capacity, and it's super easy to program. The absolute worst feature of the Zacro automatic feeder, color? I really don't know. It's a good feeder at a good price. Depending on what type of food you use or where you place the automatic feeder, you may need a feeding ring. Flakes and some pellets will float on the surface and be sucked into the filtration. If you go with either Eheim feeder, just purchase the feeding station in your set. But if you buy the Current, Lifeguard, or Zacro feeder, I'd look into one of the following 3 feeding ring options. The Aquamax MFR-1 magnetic feeding ring retails for $20. It's big, probably bigger than you want for a nano tank. It's 2 inches in diameter and 5 inches in length. It will work with any feeder, but depending on the length of the automatic feeder barrel, the Aquamax MFR may have to sit on an adjacent glass panel, not directly underneath the feeder itself. The best characteristic of the Aquamax feeding ring is it's heavy duty and the height can be adjusted. The worst characteristic of the Aquamax feeding ring is that it's really big and might not be good for nano tanks. Next up, we have the innovative marine aqua gadget Gourmet Defroster Pro. Retails for $20. It's a smaller in size with the same 2-inch diameter, but only 4 inches in height. Compatibility exact same as the Aquamax feeder, but there are a lot more options with this unit. The innovative marine Gourmet Defroster is actually a 3-in-1 system. It's primarily advertised as a frozen food defroster, and it does that job well, but you can also easily disassemble it, and it becomes a low-profile magnetic feeding ring. Or leave on half, and you have an underwater feeding station. It also has an adjustable release setting for portion control. The best feature of the innovative marine aqua gadget Gourmet Defroster is it's really a 3-in-1 feeding station. And the worst characteristic, I can't think of one. Maybe the placement of the holes on the side. You just have to make sure that they're either below or above the water line. For example, if you place the holes on the side below the water line, if you dispense pellets or flakes, rather than be dispensed underwater, they may just float out the hole, but that's easily solved by just placing those holes above the water line. And the third and final feeding ring we're looking at today is the SLSON, the Soliton fish feeding ring from Amazon. Super affordable, $7 for both a square and a circular shaped feeding ring. It's 3 inches by 3 inches. If there's too much surface agitation, then water can spill over the side, basically making it useless. It's just really cheap plastic with some styrofoam underneath it, so it has to float on the surface. The best characteristic of the plastic feeding ring is it's super inexpensive and it just attaches with a suction cup. The worst characteristic of this feeding ring is it's very cheaply made and it has to float on a calm surface. All right, we're finally up to our favorite by category. Category number 1, least expensive. Here is the current price for all of the automatic fish feeders we just looked at. The current AquaChef is the cheapest one currently at $23, but its reviews aren't very good online, so why not pay $2 more and get the Zacro unit for $25 with really high reviews. Category number 2, the highest user rating. Here are all of the user ratings, and you can see it is a tie between the Eheim Air and the Zacro, both of which have a lot of ratings and are 4.4 out of 5 stars. Category 3, largest capacity. Again, here are all the capacities for the units. The lowest, of course, being 35 milliliters from Current USA, but there is a tie for largest capacity. The Lifeguard IntelliFeed and the Zacro both have a 200 milliliter capacity. Category number 4, the most amount of mounting options. If you want to have flexibility with how you mount it, it's really a 3-way tie between the Zacro, the Lifeguard, and the Eheim Air. Category number 5, the most daily feedings. Pretty boring here. They can all feed up to 4 times a day. Some of these units can do 3 rotations. Some of these units can do 2 rotations. And then the Eheim Twin has 2 separate sides, so it can actually be programmed for 6 cycles a day. I'm not gonna give a winner here. Just look over here, make your choice. Basically, any one of these can be programmed for 4 cycles a day. Category number 6, easiest to program. It is a tie between the Lifeguard and the Zacro. These are just a little bit easier to program because they have both an up and a down button. So let's say you're setting the time and you want to set it for 12 o'clock and you accidentally go to 1, you can just hit the down arrow rather than having to continue with the up arrow 23 more times. Category number 7, easiest to refill. Again, it's got to be the Lifeguard and the Zacro because you can either pull the barrel off or you can just use the top loading feature. All right, drum roll, please. Category number 8, my overall favorite winner, and I think you've probably guessed it by now. It is the Zacro. Really, it's the Zacro and the Lifeguard, but why would you pay $50 when you can pick up, for what I can see to be the exact same feeder, for $25? So, Lifeguard, I'm sorry. Zacro wins. This is my go-to automatic fish feeder. Highest quality, highest rating, largest capacity, best price. And one more category, category number 9, my favorite feeding ring. It's pretty obvious, I think. It's the Innovative Marine Gourmet Defroster. The Aquamax feeding ring is also very nice, but for the same price, why not pick up this one, which is really 3-in-1 and just gives you so many more options. Whew, that was a crazy long video. I hope you found it helpful and I hope you know which one to get. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to both Marine Depot and My First Fish Tank. Links to all 5 of the feeders and the 3 feeding rings are in the description below. And as always, we'll see you next time. Happy reefing, everybody.